Okay.
I'm a 30. I'm a 37-year-old woman.
All right.
Um, two children.
Kevin Samuels shows how even obese women with 2 kids make demands now. When it comes to obese women and their demands, the sad truth is that so many men bow down to them.
Okay.
I do not have a problem getting a man. It's just I attract weak men.
What makes it even worse is that we can't really blame the woman. She's just trying to get the best deal that she can, regardless of the circumstances. And, regardless of her part in them.
At 5'4", 180 pounds.
In this video, Kevin Samuels shows how even obese women, with kids, make demands now.
And how do you know that? You're not
Because
sure
you're 5'4" and 200 pounds.
Okay.
And 37 years old with 2 kids. That's how I know. In Kentucky.
The real blame lies with the men who allow it. The men that allow that type of behavior are beta, at best, and often victims in more ways than one. We can choose to blame it on upbringing. We can also choose to blame it on negative life experiences. But, ultimately, the blame lands squarely on the shoulders of the grown man, who has chosen to continue to accept this type of behavior in his life. Indeed, ultimately, it is the man that is to blame. However, this fact does not absolve a woman of the blame for her unrealistic expectation. Nor does it shield her from the all too common negative outcomes that result. Watch as Kevin Samuels exposes what these women actually believe and gives this one a reality check. As a man, you should ask yourself why even these massive women feel like they can be so demanding. After a bit of retrospection, you'll probably come to the truth. Society has led obese women to believe that they can do that. And get away with it. Obese women have no problem getting a man. The woman in the video with Kevin Samuels opened up by stating that she has no problem getting a man. Your knee-jerk reaction might be to immediately declare that she's lying. But this probably isn't the case. In fact, what she is stating is probably absolutely true. She probably really doesn't have a problem getting a man. The real question here is, what is the quality of men she is getting? For example, it's easy to get a car, but getting the car you really want might prove to be a bit more difficult. Sure, you might settle on one, and say, this is good enough. That can be a good thing. However, if it's really not what you want, you will find it lacking. On that note, to get what you want, will cost you more. The same thing can be said about finding a suitable match, of the opposite sex. This becomes obvious in her next point. She claims that she attracts weak men. That statement deserves some explanation, so let's expound on that for a moment. What exactly is a weak man? And, why does she attract them? A weak man is a man who lacks the will and discipline to develop himself as a man. He hasn't fully made the transition from boy to man. He may be lacking in a few or many different areas ranging from health to finance. To simplify things, it's much easier to define what he is not, instead of listing the many things that he is. He is not whole. As an otherwise healthy adult, he requires the constant assistance of another adult, in order to completely function in society. As a result, because his mind is weak, his position is weak, as well. So, why do obese women attract weak men? The simple answer is that weak men are willing to accept less. If you are willing to accept less in life, you don't have to put forth as much effort to get it. At least, that is the way it appears, on the surface. Weak men fall for that illusion every time. The fact of the matter is that it will cost you either way, with the difference being the form of payment that is rendered. Weak men pay in the form of effort directed toward others. This can manifest in a multitude of ways. It can show up in behaviors geared toward pleasing others, so as not to suffer their wrath. It may show up as utter mediocrity, if not outright failure, in things that are essential for a well-developed man. There are a host of other manifestations. But, perhaps the most dangerous manifestation is in the form of tolerance of those things that don't suit his best interests, or are actually downright destructive. Now, it becomes easier to understand why a weak man will tolerate, and often seek, obese women, with a bad attitude, and 2 kids. A strong man would have no use for obese women outside of employing them for some business purpose. A relationship with women in this category would definitely be off the table. Should obese women be making demands? First off, one could easily argue that everyone has a right to make demands regarding their own life and lifestyle. That's an easy short answer. In contrast, things start to get a little more complicated when the situation involves other people. You see, other people have the same choices that you have. And, just like you have expectations in a potential mate, they do too. Kevin Samuels does a great job asking one very important question: what does the kind of man you want from a woman? That's where it gets real. That's also where obese women with kids need to get real as well. The odds are stacked against single obese women with children. As a testament to her detachment from reality, there are at least 2 important factors that women like this don't accept. The first is that most, if not all men, prefer women that are fit, feminine, and friendly. Men are visual creatures, and physical attractiveness is typically the first, and most important, trait noticed. The second fact is that having children from another man's tends to decrease the perceived value of a woman to a man. Most men are not actively searching for a ready-made family. That being said, it is crucial for a man to ask himself whether or not he would be a potential prey for a woman like this. What are you willing to accept? What are you willing to tolerate? A weak man has such a low idea of his own value that he might find himself in a relationship with this type of woman. Hopefully, that's not you. Be sure to check out the Kevin Samuels video, if you haven't already. The link is in the description. What do you think about the topic? Does it just look bad, or has the dynamic really shifted that much? Like, share, and comment below. And, let us help other men develop and maintain their own masculine frame.